Awesome. Thanks for everyone for jumping on the line with us today. So what we wanted to do was go through and do an AMA with CCI. So as many of you know, we're starting up NFT Apparel and we have a number of, seed sales and all these different things coming up. But it's really important to us that for those that feel as if though they don't have the resources or the know-how to safely invest into, say, not just our project, but any project out there, that there is a lot of value in touching base with someone like Joe Shu over here, who we work with at Crypto Consulting Institute, provides a lot of value to clients in terms of being able to set those foundations in place. And those are exactly the kinds of things we want to talk about with Joe today, to just give a bit more insight to any of the people in our communities that have asked questions about CCI and sort of want to get a bit of a feel for what it's all about before diving in. So first off, I guess, thanks for jumping on the line with us today, Joe. Really, it's a great pleasure to have you on. And I guess we'll get started just by just you sharing a little bit about who you are, where did you start out, and what motivated you to get to this point.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, first and foremost, thanks for tuning in, letting me tune in, and thanks everyone joining the session and everyone watching the recording as well. I guess I won't dive too deep into my background because we want to keep it fairly high level, but my background was in finance. I was in traditional markets, and I didn't want to comply with the standard predicted life that you have. You go to uni, you go and get a good job, you work your ass off till you're 60, 70 years old, and then you retire and try and enjoy your life with the squeeze that you got left at the end of it. So I decided to start investing in cryptocurrencies. That was back in 2014. I was very fortunate that I didn't know a ton about it at the time, but I was surrounded by the most incredible people who were mentoring me at that point in time. So Martin was one of the guys that was he was running Blockchain Australia, Blockchain Global at the time, out of Melbourne, who's a very good friend of mine today. He was actually living 20 minutes away from me in Australia before I left. So that was good. That was a great journey. I made a ton of mistakes when I got started. I built some incredible strategies from those mistakes. I knew what to do and what not to do. And yeah, just surrounded myself with awesome people. Then I quit my job and I went all in, you might say, on crypto because I had a lot more space, funds, and opportunity to do that. Friends started asking me, what are you doing? How are you able to travel and live the lifestyle that you do? And obviously a lot of people at work were saying you could have moved into this role, that role, because I was really good at what I did. And I was like, that's great. But if I keep doing that, then this is going to be the outcome. And here I am 3 months into an endless amount of travel. I couldn't have done this before if I was still in that job. So yeah, that's really the transition for me. And then I started helping friends because they were asking me what I was doing. And then I was like, whoa, this is far more rewarding than making money. So I started to transition to helping other people. And that's really when CCI was born. And yeah, now we've helped over 1,000 clients from all over the world. We've got a partnership with the biggest financial publishers in the world over in the US now. So yeah, it's been quite an incredible journey. But the best thing is I have the most amazing team of people around me that are doing cool shit in the space as well, rather than just getting involved themselves through the education. They've come on board, they've worked with CCI, they've now developed their own products as well. And that's so rewarding, just trying to help an ecosystem, which is incredible. Crypto is an amazing area. It's got an amazing community of people around it. Some communities are questionable, but a lot of it's great. But it's just pioneering the new future. And I think that's so important, but helping people to create wealth and not be so dependent on their jobs, or helping them out of challenging financial situations as well, and be free. I think it's the most rewarding thing for me. A lot of people say, why do you still run the CCI if you've got so much money? Well, fuck, you can't get a feeling of appreciation and gratitude and giving that you can from any dollar amount in your bank balance. All that happens is you upgrade your life, which is great. And don't get me wrong, I'd much rather drive a Range Rover Sport than a Toyota Corolla. That's awesome. But it's still a car and it's still got 4 wheels and a steering wheel. And holidays are great, but there's the highest value of anything that we can ever provide in my opinion, full stop, is contribution. Being able to give back to others and help people live an incredible lifestyle is what we're about. Not just through crypto, we're a very holistic, focused business mindset. We talk about relationships with our masterminds and business. Even I just got off the call with a mastermind for an hour, and I was speaking about how he can position his business and achieve his goals with his golden egg as such, and filter the funds and cash flow into crypto better. So yeah, there's no end to the repertoire of what we try doing to help people elevate their life, really. So that was my short intro that it kept extending, but I'll stop there.
Hey, look, no, it's great. It's awesome. And that's why myself and Ben are on board with you at CCI as well, because we do share that vision and we understand, that it can be a really difficult space to, operate in if you don't know what you're doing. So I think, diving into your motivations as to why you're doing it, because like you just said, you're literally traveling the world now. Like, for those of you that aren't on Don't Have Joe Shoes feed, we're constantly seeing a new country every second or third day at the moment, while I'm stuck in my little shoebox over here. So you're giving me something to aspire to, and I think that segues us nicely into, well, what is CCI? And what are the guiding principles that you've sort of formed around it in order, what are the foundations of it that you think has led to the success that our clients have actually, gotten to realize?
So in simple terms, for anyone that doesn't know what CCI does, we're an education business that takes people that are either new or maybe have got started but don't have clarity on what they're really doing in crypto, and we help to advance them in a smart and strategic way, reducing your risk, getting a solid education. Now, we've got 3 different levels of product, which I won't touch on yet unless you ask a question around it. What's helped our clients do so well? Number one, I give a fuck. I really care about our clients' results, and I will do everything in line with the team to ensure that people get the result and outcome that they do. And I think it really helps when you don't do it because you need money. I was very fortunate. I was in a good position before I started the business. So sure, more wealth is great. And that means I can give more away, which is our next venture that we're starting to transition to around charity-based stuff. But it's more so, I think the thing that's helped with the results is that simplicity. I am such a simple person. I'm never the smartest person in the room, and I can translate anything into my own language that I get. And if I get it, I know everyone else will, because I talk like a 12-year-old. I don't use fancy technical words. I do everything in a step-by-step process, and I map things out with clarity. I know that the most important thing for anyone isn't the strategy that they have. Way before that, it's their mental state. If you can really build, grow, and develop yourself, then you can really push yourself forward and actually apply your learnings. You could sit on the most incredible insights and data, but if you're not ready to apply them because of your personal limitations, then you're not going to get the result and outcome. So we understand what is the core to results, and how to help people, how to transition people through that process. We've obviously got our focus on risk management, safety, which I think is core. So people have that confidence that I can now transition into the space from a place of power rather than a space of, oh, if I get this wrong, what's going to happen? So I think just core fundamentals and foundations like that, giving people clarity on why they're doing it. Like I said, my why, as you can see, is something that leads my life in every area of my life. I always start with, well, why am I doing this? Not what's the fragments of each component. It's what's the overarching thing that I'm working towards? Why am I doing this? What's the outcome of it?
But no, that's fine, because what I wanted to circle back with you, Joe, is, you mentioned that you made some sort of mistakes yourself along the way. So what do you feel these days are the most sort of common mistakes that investors are making, whether they're starting out or whether they're just one of those old wrinkles that they just can't iron out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the number one mistake that most people are making is they get too heavily influenced by people. So my number one saying that I really love is data doesn't lie. I became a nerd with data. I know where to go and get the right data to help me make an informed decision. So I don't need to go on YouTube and listen to these heroes that are pumping products and cryptos in your face left, right, and center. It's, if I need an answer, then I know where to go to find that. And that to me is a really empowering thing, but that's a mistake that most people make. They get into a mental state of, I don't know what to do, so I have to listen to someone else. And the transition there is, you don't need to listen to someone else, but you need to get the right education, which part of it is listening to someone else, but knowing that they have the interest to free you, in the sense that here's what you need to know, here's the data, now you can do it for yourself, rather than the YouTube guys, they keep sucking you back in, because if they don't get views, they're not getting paid. So it's kind of a negative feedback loop that they're operating by, where to me it's, I want you to work with me and then not need me. That's my mentality. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes. Number two is just gambling. If you don't have the education and you're jumping in and trading and trying to day trade all of a sudden because it seems attractive, you've got to expect you're going to get the outcome that you will. It's okay to learn through mistakes. It's just going to take you a lot longer, and it's going to cost you a lot of time and money in that transition, which is fine if that's what you're about. There's 10 ways to skin a cat, whatever the saying is. But I think that if you really if you focus on how do I manage and mitigate my risk and build out strategies, so I'm coming into something knowing my entry and exit points, knowing that if I get something wrong, here's my downside, here's what I might actually be punished with, you might say, for making the wrong trade, and that's only a minimal risk. Where people are buying at the top, they've got no alerts, no stop losses, no nothing. They ride it all the way down. They can't physically sell because their mental state isn't in the right place, and they hold on to it through a place of fear. It's just kind of getting those fine-tuning parts right, that a lot of people don't have the strategies as they enter into stuff. They don't have the education. They don't know how to minimize and manage their risk. They certainly don't have safety down a lot of the time. They just use exchanges. They cut corners, you might say, and they get punished for it. If you don't have the confidence and certainty behind your decisions, then you're going to stay stuck on the same roundabout. But until you are able to step outside of that with data, with support, whatever it is, then you can really start to power forward. So yeah, they're probably some of the bigger ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, just the mental state being heavily influenced and not having a strategy is the core thing. And overall gambling, listening to your mates is probably part of YouTube as well, you might say. Listening to people that don't really understand or have your best interest, or are teaching you how to operate for yourself rather than be dependent upon them.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in that, and that's probably where the most value is. I myself, previously before working with CCI, was a client as well, and a lot of it would just be gravitating towards whichever community is the loudest, or whatever opportunity just happens to pop into my DMs or something like that. So yeah, it's really powerful being able to have that structure, like not only just in how you approach your investing, but also managing that mindset, which I think is really important. Forming a plan and based on data and sticking with it is really, really important. And I think, other things that we got value out of, and this is where I guess Ben and I can just chime in briefly, is, having that framework to actually also analyze particular projects and investment opportunities, as well, as opposed to, I'll buy this because it's going to 1000x overnight. Cool. Why? Why is it going to 1000x overnight? Or just cause? Oh, okay, well, a fool might invest in something like that, and a fool might get rewarded for it depending on the state of the market, but it's not based on, there's no structure to that approach. And I think, that's where diving into the fundamentals as deeply as I have in terms of what makes a project valuable is why I say Ben and I wanted to go and, address a limitation in the space around, say, NFTs, because you've got a lot of speculative NFTs out there, and they might look fantastic, they might look awesome, but if there's no sort of hype there, if there's no actual use case for it, then what's the reason for getting it? So we've sort of thought about this in reverse and gone, well, what if we create a product which actually then creates utility for pretty much all NFTs? And that's really sort of, that's an inspiration that, starting out at CCI, going through my fundamental journey, really understanding the space and going, right, well, why are people throwing money at NFTs? So we do know that it was largely speculative, you know, so now we can start to sense a change in the trend. You know, we sort of go, okay, well, the market was pretty erratic here. This kind of looks like a bubble on the NFT action. So where is the liquidity going to flow to next? It's going to be ones that can substantiate a use case for those NFTs that have a real world application, because that's the only thing that can separate you know, a potential investment from being either pure speculation or, you know, people actually going, well, I need to purchase this token, say on Ethereum. I need $100 worth of Ethereum just to do a simple swap on Uniswap. Like, you know, these kinds of things is what's would have inspired us, you know, to go in that direction, and also to, you know, of course, to reach out to Joe as well, because, you know, I think it's so valuable for everyone to check themselves. So like from my own experience back in 2017, 2018, and Ben was there with me too, you know, I felt like I learned a lot, and that I sort of, you know, I thought I was heading in a good direction, and maybe I was, but what I needed was someone to actually come through and nitpick what I was doing, like, and to actually challenge me on my assumptions and do things like that. So, you know, that was one of my biggest takeaways from like the CCI course. And that's why, again, for everyone tuning in, you know, that's why we're having this this conversation, because, you know, when you're making investments, and if you belong in, say, our community, it means a lot to us that you have access to an opportunity like jumping on board with, say, CCI, if that's something you feel you would get value out of. Because I think now, particularly during a bear market, is the time to really take stock and reflect on what you could do better. If you're a brand new market, you know, if you're brand new, it's your first time investing, awesome. You're a clean slate. Go and, you know, learn good habits. But if you're someone that's sort of come through and you're a little bit bruised and battered, that's when you go, right, what did I do wrong? Like, you know, and we can sit there and we've got our own biases, but I think there's a lot of value in going, right, like, let's just like try to clean the slate, go through this course, tap into some of the awesome support we have in the CCI communities, you know, and yeah, and to challenge yourself and to hold yourself accountable. You know, that's something that I think it's an important lesson for people that have come through this recent bull run and, you know, say bought the top and they're still holding on. You know, so that's something that we got a lot of value out of, as, you know, was previously a client and now with CCI. And we've been able to take that with us through to what we're doing now with NFT Apparel, and of course, Peak Finance as well. So something that we're really proud about. Great, I can see a question in the chat there. So what we're really proud about is that we were able to provide a platform for CCI clients on Peak Finance, for example, and they've never done DeFi before. We've told them from the outset, don't you dare put in more than $100 if you're just learning how to do it. Like, this isn't about trying to make money right now. This is about you trying to learn the different mechanics. And I think it's really empowering to be able to provide people these opportunities, because if you can learn about a complex protocol like Peak, then, you know, you can handle any kind of DeFi that's thrown your way. So yeah, I guess, you know, I guess what are your thoughts at the moment, Joe, in terms of, I guess, the direction of the general sort of either the market, like where do you think we are in the market at the moment, and what sort of trends are you favoring at the moment in terms of where you think the liquidity is going to flow to, say, next? You know, get your crystal ball out, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just going to say something before about NFTs. So we've seen new markets develop. So NFTs, we saw DeFi, we saw gaming, all of these new markets that came out. They got a lot of hype, and now they've gone through some form of retraction. There's 5 stages of a market. So 1, a new market gets created. 2, they go through the development, the excitement. 3, people realize that they get overvalued. Then they go through a correction into stage 4, where the real development happens. And that's when I really like to invest. You can invest in the first 2 stages, but the risk is far higher. But stage 4, when you really pay attention and you see the developments that are happening, like NFT Apparel, what's going on with those guys, what's happening behind the scene, what's happening in that space, that's where you can really start to position yourself for stage 5, which is the higher stage of growth, the regrowth, higher than the second, third peak. So what I would be thinking about is how can you start to position yourself in really good quality projects at this point that are then going to go through the stage 4 into the stage 5, and that cycles around again and again and again, and you'll start to see that over time as markets mature. It's the general 5 stage of a cycle. So I thought I'd add that because most people will look at NFTs, they'll look at DeFi, and they'll be like, oh, it's gone through the boom and bust. Where is it now? Well, this is where the best work gets done. When the market goes down or is flat, that is when you really see the quality of a project, and that's where the best investment opportunities are. Because I know what happens next, and it's been consistent with that. So I thought I'd just share that.
No, I love that.
Thanks for that. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's sort of the difference again, like you say, is these different stages of building, within this sort of space. And I think that's what we're trying to achieve, is that different level here. We're bringing real world revenue streams back into crypto. We're redistributing the profits among our holders. We're doing all this, cool stuff, i.e. Applying utility to everyone else's NFT collections and all the rest of it. And I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said a lot of these NFTs that have been previously in the previous run are just 100%, speculative. And I mean, even let's say the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, for example, I mean, that's even just 100% a speculation play for the most part. Like, it's all just hype. Yesterday in the VMAs, the Video Music Awards for MTV, Eminem and Snoop Dogg got on stage and they did this whole, Bored Ape Yacht Club using their NFTs as their avatars and all this stuff. And you look at something like that, and they've literally spent a metric ton of cash just to create value for their own NFTs that they're holding, and all it is a music video. So these NFTs don't have any intrinsic value. They're just throwing as much money as they can at these Bored Apes, just trying to hope that somehow or another they become valuable, or somehow or another there's utility there. And there is no utility. These things are just purely hype and purely speculative at this point. They're just a brand, and sooner or later, like you say, people will realize that they're overvalued, and they are. The market on those is just plummeting. The Bored Apes have just absolutely crashed since their all-time high of however many ETH. I think it was like 400 and something ETH or something, wasn't it, Tristan? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, like there's just no utility to them whatsoever. And I think what we're doing now is hopefully the start of projects starting to build utility and starting to actually create something in the NFT space that isn't just a profile picture. It's an ecosystem that can utilize NFTs for what their proper value proposition is, which is digital assets.
Well, I think you touched on an interesting phrase there, which was branding. That's something that has come out of NFTs, and it's a good segue towards where future trends in crypto, right? So, for example, people that own a Bored Apes, Bored Ape NFT, they've gone and opened burger shops and actual businesses, and they've named it after their NFT, and they're entirely leveraging the sentiment that's around that. So I think that's going to be really fascinating for future trends, going into the future. But for now, we sort of just buckle down, exercise some solid risk management while we are in a bear market.
Value, just to share some insights on that. So obviously we had the Jackson Hole event in recent times. Things went kind of as expected. The economy is in a very challenging position. Jerome Powell came out and he was basically saying we have to take a sledgehammer to it, and that is the realization of it. I think they're incredibly good at marketing a certain position of this is how we think things are at. But when you really break it down and you look at the data, I use tradeandeconomics.com for all of my general data, from inflation numbers, interest rates, anything like that. Highly recommend bookmarking that website. When you look at that data, you can kind of quiet his noise down and say, well, this is actually what's going on: unemployment rate, GDP, inflation, interest numbers. And that helps you, coming back to what I was saying before, look at the data. That helps you to then form an understanding of what's about to happen next. 13th of September is a big day where the US will be releasing their next inflation numbers. So keep a close eye on that. All the details will be on tradeandeconomics.com. So go and have a look on there. That's going to be a pivotal moment to see our inflation numbers coming down. I think that that is the core thing to be mindful of. There's something called the Shiller PE ratio, SHILLER PE ratio. So I only care about stocks right now. I don't really care so much about crypto because stocks are going to tell me what's happening in crypto. So Shiller PE ratio is a inflation adjusted price earnings ratio of the entire S&P 500. And that will tell you what the valuation, the true valuation is of the stock market. And you can see right now it's pretty much the highest valued, overvalued, you might say, than it has been. Then you take into consideration they printed 80% of the monetary supply in an 18-month time frame. All these things start coming to an understanding of we've got to be very, very careful that we don't go too hard too soon. And yeah, so I think just to really summarize what I'm saying, 13th of September is a really big date to be aware of. Tradingeconomics.com will give you the inflation numbers, understand what the prediction is coming into that. Do be very aware that it's kind of that buy the rumor, sell the news, where predictions will come in, people get really excited, numbers start to go up, and then bang, it can slap you around the face real quick. So if markets do start to perform well, make sure you got some risk mitigations in place that if they do come tumbling down, set your key levels, use your support and resistance, use your moving averages. Use the RSI to help you really pin things out. I like to use the volume profile bars in TradingView, VPVR, I think it is, or VNVP. So you can use those to help you identify the key levels and just set a stop loss or something, an alert on coin stats or whatever you use under that point to manage that risk. But until we start seeing inflation numbers come down, they can start to reduce interest rates. Then money will flow back into risk markets. We want to obviously see the DXY, which is just the US dollar index, start to come back down. That has been running at a 40-year plus high. So unless that stops, it's going to be a wrecking ball for risk. So watch the US dollar, watch stocks, and then figure out what's going to happen in crypto. But honestly, if you spend 80 or 90% of your time in those markets and 10-20% of your time in crypto, you'll do well.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. No, I appreciate that insight, and I'm totally aligned on that. That's exactly what I'm looking at, as well as these more macro indicators at the moment. I mean, we've seen the Jackson Hole summit, and obviously the talk wasn't so great, and the market pretty much just instantly just went into future correction mode, because as we know, the markets are always forward looking. They're always trying to anticipate what's going to happen. So if you've got the Fed chairman saying, oh yeah, we're actually looking to maybe increase interest rates another 3.5 to 4% over the next year kind of thing, then the market's basically going to act like it's pretty much happening right now. So those are things that are really important to keep an eye on, especially if you're chasing those sorts of short-term opportunities. But no, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And I think there's a lot of value in people just, taking the opportunity, especially if you are deep in cryptocurrencies, to take stock, be honest with yourself where you're up to. If you need the help, reach out to CCI and the like. Of course, you can always jump into the Peak and NFT Apparel channels and have a chat with us. But if you want that real structured learning, if you need that sort of real guided approach, and also the opportunity to jump in a community of people that have all gone through the same course and they have the same set of standards, I think that's a lot. That's a massive piece of value that Joe's basically provided by offering this service. And as we've touched on, motivation is important when you're finding someone who's trying to teach you. And like we said, Joe's traveling the world. He doesn't care about money. He's doing it because he loves it. And I think there's a lot of alignment there, and we're really happy to, of course, be involved with CCI in the ways that we are. And and we're excited to see all the opportunities that will sort of come out of the future, particularly this charity arm that you touched on, which I think is really cool. Which of course will help out with our our deep dive into NFTs. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one, guys. Awesome. But no, that's great. I guess we'll circle back around to some questions now, I guess, in the meantime. So I'm actually going to start with the question from the entries that we've gotten on the on the Gleam competition that we ran. So we didn't have as much time as we would have liked to have run that competition, but it's no biggie. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick a question, and the one that I'll read out is the winner. And I'll of course throw in some other ones in there if there are some good ones too. Ooh. Okay, so we got one here, and congratulations, Reese. We'll pick you as the winner there, and we'll send you a $50 NFT apparel voucher for that.
Nice.
So his question was, in my opinion, investing in bespoke or unique NFTs is risky. NFTs, you know, such as sports. So I think here he's referring to chilies. So I think you've got a little bit of, you've dabbled in chilies yourself a little bit. So, you know, it's such a niche, I guess what he's getting at, that, you know, that it's not, you know, it doesn't have that sort of traction, or like NFTs, for example, that are like regionally specific. So he's asked, if there are quick gains to be made, would you advise generally staying away from anything in particular, or is there anything that's unique or specific that you think is worth, you know, researching and potentially investing into? So I'd say that extends to NFTs, tokens, and projects.
Yeah, I would say it's a very general question around projects as well. So if I analyze an opportunity, I know that if I look at a market or a crypto that's trying to go after a huge market, there's going to be a massive value, dollar value to it, then there's an opportunity for a huge upside there. But with that being said, there's going to be a lot of competition in those markets, so it can be more challenging, and that's where a certain level of risk is associated to that. If you think about a project which is super niche, going after, yeah, a specific niche, whatever it is, and there's a smaller market, less cash going into it, then you're going to expect typically lower liquidity or lower marginal gains to that. But it's not always the case. Obviously, you can have huge gains in these smaller niches, but there's going to be less liquidity, and it depends on how much money you're investing. You might struggle to sell, which I know a lot of people did into 2018, trying to get out of ICOs, which was super niche, and there was no liquidity in the exchanges for them, so they had to sit and ride it all the way down, which sucks. So yeah, I think that's the general rule of thumb. You want to go after something that has a bigger value, but is offering some sort of solutions that other competitors are not, which is obviously what a lot of layer ones are trying to do, and hashing it up a few of them through hacking and everything else. But yeah, that's just I guess, a generalistic answer. But you can find niches that people are really cultish, you might say, around, and that all in is like, this is the best thing ever, and you just have the most incredible following around them. It's probably not the same, but I think about Shiba Inu, like, what value does that really offer? But look at the following, it's bigger than Bitcoin on channels like Reddit. So is that a good short-term play every now and then? Well, hell, I made 42% on it last week, or this week, whenever it was, last week. So like, I'm happy on making huge marginal gains when the opportunity is there. So yeah, there's no general rule of thumb, but typically thinking, if you're going after a smaller market, there's potentially smaller gains, less liquidity, and more risk associated with it, you might say, generally speaking.
That's awesome. And the next question from Gavin here, actually, it hones in a little bit more on that. So he's asking, what are the tiers at CCI? So I guess in terms of the products. So he's subscribed to the newsletter from day one. Love your work, Gav. You're a legend. Still doesn't take profit, mainly out of fear of, you know, it going up, which means that he takes losses. So his plan is 10 years plus, and looking at crypto as a bonus super plan. So I guess the question there is, how would each product potentially assist him, I guess, in removing that fear from doing things like taking profits and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first level, as you've obviously experienced, is our newsletter, which is, we deliver a lot of insights. So I say a lot, we deliver a ton of insights in that, and we've got Tristan that does a section, I do a section, Sam does a section. So there's it's an incredible amount of work that goes into that. The next level is our VIP level. So our VIPs, they get access to an online series, they get access to really intensive support. I do a weekly video into there. We've got other content that goes in there, and that's structured in a way. It's a really clear framework. We first give you insight education into crypto, the background, to fine tune that. If you feel that you know everything, you can skip that. Then we go and dive deep into mindset, setting goals through a certain planner, focusing forward through there, how to overcome limitations, drive yourself, not motivate yourself, align yourself. And then we go through the structure of safety, buying and selling, investment strategies, analyzing opportunities, taxation, NFTs, DeFi. It's kind of all structured in one place, and we give you frameworks, we give you the tools, we give you the access to the data of what we personally use, and then we have built, like Tristan was a big part of building the fundamental analysis piece, which is a clear step-by-step. These are the steps, and this is the questions to be asking, and here's where you go to find the data of how to analyze an opportunity, and we've given you examples of that as well. So it's really to take someone who's kind of just involved or has been going a while, and they really want to transition forward to making this, instead of gambling, for a lack of better words, they want to have a lot more certainty and confidence behind their decisions, because they can rely on data. When you can rely on data and you can separate yourself from that, that's going to give you that certainty and confidence. But you're always going to feel unconfident if you're relying on someone else's word, because what the fuck do they know? At the end of the day, the data will tell you the truth, not someone's opinion. And then we've got our elite level, where most of our $1 million clients hang out. So it's people that have transitioned through the VIP level, and then they want to take things further, and we transition them to the 7-figure level. I think Adrian is on the line.
Adrian is on the line, actually, if he wanted to
main man himself.
Didn't say g'day. I'll give him the opportunity. There he is.
Yeah.
Hello, friends. How you guys doing?
It's the Louisiana Swamp Rat, my man.
But Adrian's a great example. He's been through the VIP process. He was a mastermind for quite a period of time. I think it was about a year or something close to, that we worked with each other at the mastermind level. And yeah, I don't know if everyone knows about your magic. I'm happy to share it if you don't feel comfortable, or if you don't want me to share it, that's also okay. But yeah, happy to outline kind of your journey, because I think it's great if you want to share it yourself. I'm happy either way.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Joe, because you helped me from day one, and you were almost too good to be true, and you probably ended up being even better than that. So you're a legitimate dude, and your company and process is for real. And yeah, I got in at a good time and was pretty fortunate with some investments, and the dollar values went way up. There's been some decreases, but overall, my experience with you and the team has just been incredible. And meeting Tristan and partnering up with him to start Peak Finance, I just wanted to let everybody know that you can do really well in this space, and learning from Joe and everybody on the CCI team is a real way to get knowledgeable and experience and confident. And I think even better than that for me was the non-financial stuff that you share with me personally and directly. And because for me, making money is not that big of a deal. It's not too hard, but the why and your consciousness around it and your behaviors around that are almost as or more important to me. And that's where I've really benefited from your association.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. And it's great to hear your voice, mate. What an honor. Good on you.
It's been a minute. All right, I can see Bob there. You've had your hand up for a while. We'll let you jump on in here. I can see you do have a question in the chat, but maybe you'd like to ask it anyway. I feel like I might chip in. I might jump in on this one for an answer, but go ahead, Bob.
All right, so first of all, I don't know why my name's Bob on this. My name's Isaac. I'm sorry about that.
All good, bro.
Second, so pretty much I've been like traveling the past few years. I'm 22 years old. I've been traveling literally since I finished high school for the past 4 years. I didn't really go to school. I've been in school online. right now I have about $100,000 saved up from when I got in a car accident when I was a kid, and also I made a couple bucks during COVID. So right now I'm in a situation where I'm just trying to like think and look into different industries and basically different places where I could diversify my funds. And I saw you guys right now on this platform. My friend sent it to me, said I should take a look. And I just thought maybe check it out, learn a little bit more about crypto, NFTs, and that space. I know you guys are from Australia. I Googled you guys, but
yeah, nice. Well, first and foremost, mate, a massive congratulations to you, because you're still a young pup in the grand scheme of things, and you're on here having these conversations, which is fantastic. One of my favorite things is to work with what I would call younger people, and I hope you don't take offense to that. I'm saying it in a really positive way.
No offense at all on here.
Yeah, I think it's so inspiring that younger people are thinking about their future and they're wanting to do something now and take control of it. Because the younger you start, the smarter you get at a younger age, the further you're going to get, and you can start to really enjoy. Instead of maybe traveling on a somewhat of a shoestring budget, you can start traveling in 5-star hotels and really maximizing the experience through that. But setting yourself up for your future and finding more about your purpose and mission, you might say, in life. Sure, it's about making money, but it's way more than that. It's the contribution. I mean, look at Tristan and Ben now, what they're doing through NFT Apparel and Peak. It gives them such purpose every day to create and contribute. So yeah, just wanted to say that more than anything, a big congratulations to yourself, and for wanting to go down the path of education and learning more, mate. It's fantastic.
Yeah, +1. And I'll just jump on to support what Joe's saying there as well. It's a lot of what we do at CCI. It's incumbent on each person to take the action. Like, we can provide, it's the old lead a horse to water, but we can't make you drink kind of thing. So we provide all the tools that you sort of need to make those really educated and structured decisions. So, so I would say there is definitely value to, jumping on with one of the team at CCI, see if there's alignment, whether crypto is something for you. For sure, because I think that if you're playing with a significant amount of money coming into the market, that it doesn't hurt to go through a guided learning experience with a bit of structure so that you make the right decisions. So it's the difference between, paying for a course and making it up multiple times over because you're empowered to make the right decisions, or just going at it on your own devices. And like Joe said earlier in the piece, make the mistakes. And if that's something you want to do, but it will be costly. It will cost. It's not a matter of if, it's a certainty. If you're transacting and you're doing, deep things with DeFi, NFTs and stuff, like, you are going to encounter scams and, I've had friends message me, going, oh my God, Tristan, I accidentally connected to this website and I signed this dodgy transaction. Look at my wallet. I'm like, dude, I'm watching your wallet get drained before my eyes. I'm watching tens of thousands of dollars, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So, but it could have been, it can't be stopped, but it could have been prevented. Basic things like never share your seed phrases, or connect to a dodgy website with holding $100,000 or something like that, So yeah, the choice is definitely, it's in your hands, my man. What you want to do. I would personally suggest, getting that sort of education like what we provide at CCI, but I'm also mindful that that's a very biased suggestion on my part. So yeah, look, follow your heart, man. Jump in the Peak and the NFT Apparel channels. If that's not where you might have probably already found us from there. We're always happy to help out with bits and pieces, but for that really, that holistic learning experience, which does incorporate all these things, it is worth looking into CCI and the like. And also, again, yeah, big congrats leaving high school and going on a travel. That's something I didn't do, and as someone that's 31, I regret that. So well played, sir. I think 4 years. Yeah, 4 years of travel is probably giving you some very unique insights on and unique experiences on the world. So that's very cool.
100%. I did learn a lot. Currently, I'm studying for the Series 7 exam. I just started studying probably not too long ago. So I'm learning about debt securities. It's kind of similar, I guess, to what you guys were describing earlier in the video. But really cool stuff. I definitely want to check you guys out. Send me I think you guys put a link to something in the
Yeah, I just dropped a link tree in the chat, and that connects up to a ton of different things like free playbooks. I got a free quarterly crypto briefing that Sam, my head analyst, and I did together. And you can see into the newsletter, book a call with the team over there as well, the strategy team, and just explore. But I guess my parting word that I would say to you is, based on my own personal experience, the best thing that I've ever done in my life is go and find someone who's already achieved what I desire and follow them. That is the best thing that I've ever done, not only just in crypto, but in relationships. I did the Ironman last year. All these different areas of my life, who's the best at what they do, who's already achieved the result, and who genuinely wants to help someone else now, I'm going to go and follow that person because I know that they're going to help me get the result and outcome. As long as you're motivated and aligned to getting results, which, believe it or not everyone is subconsciously. But it's clear to me that you're a go-getter. So I don't think it's hard. I think the easiest clients I ever work with, and that's why we have a call, like an application process before. So we want to know that people are ready to get the result. They just need the right direction. So we're giving you the coordinates to the destination, but you're already running. We're just making sure that you run in the right direction. And that's, to me, what a good coach will do for you or with you, help you to run in the right direction, because it sounds like you've got a lot of energy to burn over there.
I love that. That's fantastic. That's a brilliant note, I think, for us to wrap up on. What do you reckon, folks? Silence is compliance. All right. I love it, guys. That's fantastic. Thanks for jumping on and sharing that with us, Isaac. It's really cool. Like I say, it's genuinely, I wish I was on the back end of a 4-year travel myself. And it's cool that you're already thinking about the future in that way, and that you recognize that you're sitting on opportunity, I guess, in a sense. So yeah, no, hopefully we'll hear more from yourself in the future. And yeah, I just want to thank Joe for jumping on the line with us today. There's a lot of value in these sessions, guys. I think, like Joe said, it's about finding those people that do genuinely care, and it's not just lip service. We don't want to see anyone getting wrecked. We say that to the community all the time, don't, make, reckless plays or over-invest or over-allocate into a particular project, even our own. So, I just want to, thank Joe for providing that structure and, being there for us, and being there for the community, like our communities as well. So anyone that feels like they will benefit from this structured learning, I can vouch firsthand, Joe's the man for that.
Awesome. And yeah, appreciate all the work that you boys do and all the growth and everything that you've built and brought to us as well, because of your growth, CCI is growing too. So
I love it.
Fantastic. Love it.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the line today, guys. Until next time.
Over and out.